Hi everyone, this is Arlene. Thanks for stopping by. Today I'm going to make a watercolor card, and I will be using some watercolor paper. First time for that instead of just regular cardstock. So what I've done is I've taken a 6x6 paper pad. I've cut it down to, I'll be using a piece that is 4 3/4 wide by 2.5 inches high, and I'll be coloring on that, making a background, and then I'll be stamping over it. So what I'm doing, instead of using a watercolor paint set, I'm going to be grabbing color from the Stampin' Up pads that I have here. So the three colors that I'm using, one is the Pacific Point, the other is Tempting Turquoise, and then I also have Blackberry Bliss as well too. So the first thing that I'm going to be doing is taking and getting my watercolor paper wet. So how I do that is just taking just an inexpensive brush and then dipping it into some water, and then just applying the water directly onto that watercolor paper. You don't want to get it too wet, just enough to a little bit, maybe a little bit over, then just dampen it. You can see how much water I actually do have on that piece of paper. And then I'm going to be taking just a brush that this is one that came from with my paint set, and I've got two different pots of paint here. One is going to be used for cleaning my brush, and then another one is going to be used for taking the clean water to add to the watercolors, the dye inks themselves. So starting out with that Tempting Turquoise, I'm just applying, I'm grabbing up some of the paint, the dye from that, and applying it directly onto the watercolor paper. And do you see how it is just making it very soft, and that water is helping to carry that color throughout the paper. So I've got enough water on there, so this is just a real soft look, and most of the paper is going to be covered by that Tempting Turquoise color. And then I'm just going to rinse this out. This is actually a number 6 round brush. I do like it, but I think I'm going to be getting something a little bit larger next time. But this is still, it's a fun one to work with especially with a smaller piece of paper like this. And then I'm going to go around and just take some of that Pacific Point. And do you see how this color is just, they're bleeding through, and you want to get colors that are going to go well together, because they are going to be blending together at some point when they meet with that water. So you just want to make sure that you get colors that will blend together well. So now I'm taking some of that Blackberry Bliss, but it's a little bit too pink for me, so I'm adding some of this blue from the Pacific Point in there. And you see how it made it more of a purple color, and that's the color I was looking for. So it's nice to know that you can do that. You don't have to always have the exact color, even if the ink pads, because you can mix them up together on a palette. So really pretty, this purple. And it's really snowy here today. It's been snowing all day, so I thought of winter, and this is the look that I was going for, more of a winter feel to it, which I really like the way these blues blended together, as well as that purple color too. And I'm just covering up this whole piece of paper. Some of the other samples that I had used, I kept some pieces white, and I like that as well too. So you want to make sure you have to work on a surface that's dry if you're going to stamp on it. So I've made another one ahead of time. You see this one's got a little bit more pink in it, which is still going to be fine because it's used as a background, but it's just going to give it a different look altogether. This stamp right here is from Lovely as a Tree by Stampin' Up. This is it's a grouping of trees, and I'm just using some Memento, the Tuxedo Black ink, and I'm inking up this stamp, and then I will be going over the watercolor piece, and that will give it the background. And I love the way all these three colors went together. Now, next time I do this, and this is a good point for myself to remember, start out with a dry piece of the bottom, that sheet of paper. I should have used like a wipeable piece rather than paper, because it did stay wet and it got on some of the watercolor paper I used. So I do fix this later on in the video, but until then it just got a little bit wet there, a little bit damp on one of my parts of my paper that I wanted to keep dry. So I've got some other pieces of paper I'm just matting over. This is cut at a fourth inch increments a little bit, a fourth of an inch bigger, and then a fourth of an inch bigger on that blue piece. And you want to make sure that you really adhere that watercolor paper down. It won't curl as much as, say, cardstock will that gets wet, but it still has a tendency to curl. So I like to use a lot of adhesive and a strong adhesive to glue that down. So I'm going to start, this is an A2 size card, again keeping in with that kind of a winter feel to it. I kept it white. I wanted to leave it white, and that's going to be placed on the top part of my card. And I'm also going to be putting some ribbon on here. Now, this is what I was talking about. I'm just going to throw that scratch piece of paper away since it was wet. But I'm going to be placing that on the top part of my paper. And then I've just got some ribbon, some blue ribbon here. I cut that to size, and then I snipped the ends of it. And I like to use a dry adhesive, so I'm using my ATG gun to adhere that down. I think I've gotten spoiled by that ATG gun. I really like the way that it holds things, even ribbon, so I like that. So I'm just going to apply that onto the left hand on the bottom, the left side of my card. And then I have a stamp here that will go on the right hand side. And this stamp set, it's a happy birthday, and it's from the Petite Paris by Stampin' Up set. This is a really nice set. I know I've used it in the past too. It's smaller, it's a smaller saying. So sometimes if you just have a small window right there on the bottom of your card, it's nice to fill in. And it also makes for small cards, little note cards too as well. So I'm placing that on to the bottom right hand side. There's a little space there though that I want to still add a little bit to. And I'm taking some of the iced rhinestones by Stampin' Up. I'm going to use one of the larger rhinestones and put that just to the left of the saying. And then I'm going to add my watercolor stamped part onto the front of that card. That's so pretty. It's a lot whiter here today. Since there's snow, we probably got about 5 inches just today. So now on the inside of the card, what I've done is I've taken one of these Project Life cards. I have quite a few of them, and I haven't even started a Project Life album yet, which I need to. But so this color right here is green. It's not the same color that I wanted to use, but what I did is I took a gel pen that did match, a matching gel pen, and I colored it in. I colored over that green part because it's gel, it's opaque. And then I also took a little stamp from that same Petite Paris saying, and I stamped it right in the middle of that. So this is a great way to use those leftover Project Life cards that you don't know if you're not going to use. I also inked up the edges very slightly. I didn't raise it up on the inside since it's going to be closed. Now I placed it on the left side because I want to have room on the right hand side to write something personal, a personal note to whoever I will be sending this card to. But I also found an old stamp set. I kind of cleaned out my craft room. I found this old stamp. Is one of the first I ever got. He's a little snowman since it's winter, and he's going to be skating. So I'm going to just draw a little squiggly line there, where it shows like he's been skating on the page. And I still again have room to write a personal note. So there's the card, a watercolor card, but still fairly quick and easy. So I wanted to say thank you so much for watching. Thanks for stopping by, and have a great day.